I'm going to hang up.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, this is cool.
Fran, Steve, you with us?
I'm here.
I'm with you.
All right, we got Steve and Fran, and we've got about 6 minutes until the webinar is going to start, everybody.
Okay.
Send Brian a text. We're going to get 20% off. You got to go to contact. Let me double check that. Where's the notes we just had here? What happened to my paper?
Hey, everybody, we got about 5 minutes, and we're going to get started with Steve Garner and Fran Taylor today. Appreciate y'all taking the time to come out. This is Brian Ankeny with Auto Success Magazine.
We gave him 20%. Text Brian the code and 20%.
While we wait for the time to come to start, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and I'd also like to invite you to invite other salespeople that you know to come and learn with us. Fran and I put these webinars on, once or twice a month with different exceptional salespeople from around the country that are truly accomplishing, some extraordinary, levels of sales and income just by utilizing, Fran's techniques to do 30 cars a month. Also, if for everybody that's on the webinar, if you haven't, invite the other people at your dealership to join the 30 cars a month group on Facebook. It's a great way. I'm sure most of you, that's how you know about us, is you probably go on there and learn new things every day, and that's the whole idea. We're trying to, help those that wish to achieve more to achieve more.
All right, everybody, I'm Fran Taylor. Thank you all for joining us today, and I promise you won't be disappointed. In the almost 30 years of traveling around the United States, I've got a chance to meet some exceptional salespeople as well as managers. And today one of our special guests is not only a friend but a professional in many, many ways. And he's going to share with you something new. Like every time we do a webinar here, there's something a little bit different, like Tiffany Cruiser. She sells 40 cars a month. Her big thing is a daily routine. Mike Davenport was on previously. His big thing is YouTube. He has over 1.2 million hits on YouTube. Justin Stanger, his big thing was, going outside the dealership and getting his own customers. And you have to take the time to listen to somebody that made $262,000 in 1 year. We also had Doug Hilliard. Doug was a rookie who sold 400 cars his first year in the car business. His big thing was prospecting. So today, Steve is going to talk on a bunch of different things, and one of his many great things he does is he tracks what he's doing. And he's a very special person, and he has some other techniques we're going to share with you. And then at the very end, we're going to have some question and answers that you can ask Steve or myself about what he's doing, how to sell cars, and then we'll go from there. So I appreciate you all from joining in, and by all means, spread the word. There's no secrets to success to a certain point. On the other hand, there is. If you get a chance to listen to somebody that's rocking and rolling, that's the person you want to listen to. People think advice doesn't cost you anything. It absolutely does if you're getting the wrong information. Today you're going to hear from one of the best in the world selling cars. And we'll start in about another minute.
Hello, everyone. This is Brian Ankney. I'm with Auto Success Magazine. I have the privilege today to bring you two great guests, Fran Taylor and Steve Garner. Fran Taylor has written more success stories in our magazine over the last 14 years than any other trainer, writer, anyone in the industry. And so when we decided to get into the webinars and helping people through webinars in addition to the magazine and online, I reached out to Fran, and he was gracious enough to work with us. And I imagine most of you found us through 30 Sales a Month, which is a group that's designed to help salespeople around the country to connect with each other and share great ideas and learn how to do better and sell more cars. All of you have taken the first step or two towards increasing your income and selling more cars. If you haven't already, please share 30 Sales a Month with other people that you know in the business, at the dealership, anybody that you know that might benefit from having this opportunity. Fran has been teaching people how to prospect and market themselves for the last 30 years, and really has done has really trained some of the best people that I've ever had the privilege to speak with in the car business. Today we have Steve Garner, and the focus of this webinar is going to be on how Steve has been able to make millions of dollars selling cars, but in addition to that, how he's been able to save millions of dollars selling cars. Fran, you want to take over?
Yeah, absolutely. I met Steve in 1991, and this guy, I can't tell you how aggressive he was and just professional, and he was like a sponge. Every time we talked to him, he wanted to learn. And Steve took it to another level on his own. What was awesome about Steve is he just didn't learn from me. He learned from a lot of people. And now he's in the Texoma area, and that's about 300,000, 400,000 people, and several times he won the prestigious award of Texoma's best. So he was voted the very best. And with that in mind, Steve, welcome here.
Thanks, Fran, and thanks, Brian. It's a real privilege to be with you guys today, and I look forward to sharing the information I've had with those people out listening.
All right. You're real big into tracking what you did in the past, and there's not many salespeople that do that. And even 15 years ago or whatever, you just tracked everything from phone calls and stuff. And can you share with us how that was a major help in you, making millions of dollars selling cars?
Steve, you with us?
You are now muted.
Fran, I think we must have lost Steve. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm going to call him, and I will. If you want to just maybe share some stuff about Steve, I'm going to call Steve on his cell phone right now and get him back in here.
Okay. Well, one important thing sorry for the technical difficulties there. That happens sometimes. But I'll tell you what Steve started to do. He can tell you 15 years ago how many ups he took that month. He can tell you how many phone calls he made every single day, and he tracked his grosses too. And what happened is once you see what you're doing and your money you make, you just have a little bit bigger goal. If he was making 30 phone calls a day, he'd go to 35. If he took 35 ups a month, he'd try and get 40. And what was special about Steve is each time he did it and he tracked his goals and the gross and everything else, he just added to it. Now listen, Steve didn't sell 40-plus cars a month right off the bat, but his big thing was his personal records of what he did. And I think that's what's special. If you don't know where you're going, you're lost. And if you sold, I don't care, 20 cars last December, you should be able to do 22, 23 this December if you're into the follow-up and prospecting. Now what Steve did, and many of us do that I personally work with, he got the goal setting, which teaches sort of a little bit about how to save money, and he would invest in himself a whole bunch of times by buying prospecting tools. With that alone, your grosses come up automatically with repeats and referrals, and that's the whole idea behind this. When Steve started, he's just like most of us when we started. He had nothing, no repeats, no referrals. I didn't have a clue about selling cars, the same in the way most of us are. But Steve specialized in tracking what he did. He's a very orientated as far as about results. What am I going to do and what am I going to get? And you have to be the same way to a certain point. I mean, you just don't want to come on the lot and try and take a couple ups a day and hope you sell a car. What's your average commission per deal? Each month that should go up a little bit if you're into the prospecting. And, of course, he learned to step to the sales a little bit. But when you make that swing, when you first start from taking fresh ups to working on nothing but repeats and referrals, that's where it really takes off. Now, I had some notes here that we're going to talk to Steve, and I'll share with you some of the stuff he was talking about.
Hey, Fran, I'm back on the line.
Okay. Well, I was telling him about how you you were tracking all your information, and every month, or like if you did 20 cars last December, your goal was 22 and how many ups you had. And you want to share a little bit about what you did, how you became most successful with tracking your information?
Yeah, and I want to apologize to the participants. Our phone, I was on a hard landline at the dealership, so that this wouldn't happen, and we had a power outage just now, so I'm on my cell phone. Thanks again, and it's a real privilege to be here with everybody that's listening in. And one of the things that has really helped me in the 26 years I've been in the car business is the background I've got in math. I'm a numbers guy, and for me, knowing what my success is going to take makes it so much easier. If I want to sell 25 cars or 35 cars, I need to know how many people to put in front of me, and so I've tracked those numbers. That helps me with my goal setting and my planning, and as I track each month and each year, and as I get years compiled, I can have an idea, what does this month really look like for me? What does it look like as it pertains to the dealership, and what kind of outside influences make a difference in those sales? And so that's how I went from selling 11 or 12 cars a month. I started, when Fran really got me to moving forward, I went from 10 cars to 11.75 to 14.87 to 17 to 21 to 22 to 28 as an average for the year. Selling 40, 42, 41 cars in a month, and now those are my high months, of course, and everybody likes to say, oh, I'm a 40-car guy. I'm not a 40-car guy, but I still do 30-plus 2 or 3 times a year, and I keep my average around 25. I quit catching ups 5 years ago, and 4 years ago I took the bold step of setting my own schedule, my own hours, and I take a 4-day weekend off every month, just so I can have the time that I want for the things I have a real passion for.
I think that's really awesome, and you see, you work for that. We have other trainers making big money that sell 25 cars a month, and your grosses are higher because you live on repeats and referrals. And I think that's what salespeople have to realize. You don't have to work 50, 60 hours a week to make real good money. And besides, isn't that the goal? I mean, that should be the goal for everybody is to make big money, and go enjoy it with your family.
That's one of the things that I've really put a focus on, Fran, is doing exactly that. I work 40, 45 hours a week now. I have Thursdays off. If I want to come in at 9, if I want to go home at 4:30, I do. It's so much easier to schedule my time with repeat and referral business. These people that have bought from me 5 or 6 or 8 times, or their friends or their coworkers, it's easy to set an appointment at 2:45 or 3:15 and have them come in. They're excited about buying a new car, and that sale is so much easier. I can take care of one of those sales in an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, as opposed to 4 to 6 hours on a fresh up.
Well, see, you went after it right away. You had the long-term goal in mind of not living at the dealership to try and grab an up. So, I mean, you grabbed it right off the bat and run with it. Matter of fact, I remember talking to you. You have lunch with some of your customers, and what was impressive to me is you said most of the time they buy you lunch.
You know, I stole that idea, Fran, from one of my good friends down in Austin, Texas. We were at a conference, training conference down in Austin, and we were, I guess it was about 11:40, and we had just broken from the morning session. And he says, hang on, Steve, let me make a couple of phone calls. So he got on his phone, called 3 of his customers, asked each one of them to go to lunch. None of them took him up on it, but they all said, can I have a rain check? I'll buy you lunch next time. And I said, you know those guys can't go to lunch now. It's close to lunch. He said, Steve, that's the beauty of this. He said, you can wait till 11:30. Most of those people have already made lunch plans. Occasionally, he said, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 12 times, they'll take you up on it. But he said, I rarely have to buy lunch. I call them, they say, yeah, let's go, and they usually pick the tab up. And he said, it's a great way to further and strengthen the relationship that you've already built with these guys. And that's what makes them send their friends, their coworkers, and their family to see you, because they trust you and they know that you're going to take great care of the people that they send to you, just like you've taken great care of them.
Well, I think that's special. So you work outside the dealership a lot to generate your own.
Yeah, I work my own prospecting hours and time, and one of my favorite things to do, I'll stockpile my license plates, 2 or 3 days at a time, and end up with 8 or 10 of them. And I'll just take an afternoon off, and I'll take them out to my customers' offices, take my screwdriver and some business cards, and I take. We've got a local company that I've got a deal worked out with. It's called the Pecan Shed, and they've got these real nice little gift boxes with 3 different kinds of pecans and fudge in it, and I'll take those out to my customers. And it's just an incredible opportunity to get away from a car dealership so that people see me in a whole different light, and so do the people that work for them. So if I go in to see a CEO or a bank president, you're getting past the gatekeeper, one, to get to them. You're getting past their personal secretaries to get to their office. And so you're exposed to a lot of different people. And when they see me taking care of their boss on several levels, it's an easy referral opportunity.
Well, I've been in your store several times training, and, I'm not trying to offend anybody there, but there's only about 3 or 4 of you that wear suits and ties. You not only look professional, but you have a pin as well stating your name and what you do. What do you have to say to that to some of the people selling cars? Now, a lot of guys out there, they wear the cowboy boots and stuff, which is fine, but every time I saw you, you were in a suit and tie.
When I got started in this business in 1988, I had the real good fortune of being trained by a guy that just didn't think I was going to make it in the car business. I had come out of the business world here locally, and I've dressed in a suit since college. And he said, Steve, you're in North Texas, and you're going to be dealing with ranchers from southern Oklahoma, and you need to wear jeans and a pressed white shirt. And I said, I don't have any. And he said, well, you're never going to sell trucks out here in this marketplace. And I said, well, I beg to differ. I said, if you'll teach me how to do this, I can sell trucks. And so I still wear suits and ties, and I'm perfectly comfortable with it. But that's my personality, Fran. But I hope the people out there listening understand that the customers buying cars and trucks are buying them from you, not the clothes you wear. They're buying them from you because they trust you. They trust your judgment. They trust your professionalism. They trust that you know what you're talking about as it pertains to their wants and their needs.
Absolutely. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I remember years and years ago, weren't you the guy that was doing like a radio show in the morning?
I still do that. Twice a month, we've got one of the talk radio shows, and I'll go in and just shoot the bull with the guys on the radio and, talk about the local drought that we're going through, or we'll talk about politics, or we'll talk about whatever it is they're talking about. But at some point in that 30-minute radio show, I talk about the week special. If we've got a half-ton pickup truck, or we got a Cadillac that's 14 grand off, I'll talk about that. And I alternate my own advertising. I'll do 6 months worth of radio spots. I do a local buy with 3 radio stations, and then the other 6 months I'll do advertising in the little Thrifty Nickel giveaway paper and the local newspaper, and then I'll change those up each year. I budget $240 a month for those things, and I do that month in, month out.
So that's the hardest thing to get somebody new or somebody that's been in the business a long time that don't spend any money on themselves. But you continue to do that, and obviously you're getting results because, when you guys had that power outage, I told them, like, you and Dave MacArthur were voted Texoma's best, and there's several 100,000 people, and you won that many, many times, and that's because you're out there letting the world know what you do for a living.
Yeah, and you talked about name tags earlier, and that's one of the things that my wife just has she's a real quiet type. I'm not. And I wear my business name tag everywhere I go. If I take my grandkids to breakfast, if we're shopping at the grocery store after work, I have my name tag on. And I'm just amazed at the number of times I have an opportunity to give somebody a business card because they ask me. I don't ask them. I'm not selling cars, but they say, "Oh, you work at Patterson's? Oh, can you tell me about the half-ton pickup truck that just came out?" Or, my wife and I were just looking for a used car. Can you sell used cars? And then guess what? I didn't sell them anything. They asked me, and I will sell them, at some point in the future. But they asked me. And for me and my personality, that just works for me.
Well, I think that's awesome. I try and tell people, salespeople all the time, that's one of the investments you ever get, spending, $15 or $20. And on the name tag, it just shouldn't say, ABC Motors. It should say your name and sales rep. I like what you said when we had our conversation earlier. You said the bigger you think, the bigger you become. So you just started thinking outside the box and started doing things, and once you started seeing the results, you keep going. And I think that's what makes a difference between yourself and a lot of other people just trying. You just had the courage to go get after it.
When I first met you, I was in a real difficult financial situation. I had closed a business, gotten into the car business, reeling from that financial loss, and didn't have a lot of spendable cash. And one of the first trainings you talked to us about was setting specific envelopes for specific things. If it was a car payment, if it was clothes, if it was for advertising, if it was for giveaways, if it was for whatever it was for, $5 a month or $10 a month. And so I started that, and the first envelope I got filled was my advertising envelope. And when I got $100 in it, I went out and bought some sold by stickers. That was in 1995. And I've sold cars off of that I didn't even have an opportunity to see the customer until they called me seeing those stickers. And that's one of those things, Fran, that it's just great.
Tell them a story about that guy who you sold a Suburban to, and he sold it to somebody else, and 9 years later the guy comes.
Yeah, that was a pickup truck I'd sold locally here in Wichita Falls, and we have one of our bedroom communities about 18 miles from us. And I got a call one day from a guy and said, "Hey, Steve, this is so-and-so, and can you tell me about this red extended cab Chevrolet?" And I said, "Which one is it?" And he started explaining it to me, and I said, I think that truck belonged to so-and-so. And he said, "Yeah, he traded it in over here at this dealership." And I said, "Hey, it was a great truck. He just wanted something newer, and we didn't have it, and he was ready to trade that day, and I just missed his business." And He said, well, you think it's a good truck? And I said, yeah, I know it's a good truck. He brought it here, and we took care of his service. And I said, have you bought it yet? And he said, no, I haven't bought it yet. I said, what are they asking for it? And he told me. And I said, man, I think I can get you a new one, for pretty close to that, because it was a 3-year-old truck, Fran. And so he came over, and I sold him a truck that day.
See, that's awesome. That's what we try and teach the new salespeople or somebody that's been around. See, to me, it takes a lot of courage to start with nothing. I mean, you took a little dream. $5 and $10 doesn't seem like much, but you stuck with it, and after a while, it turned into hundreds. And after over a period of time, you make millions of dollars. That's the hardest thing as a trainer we have to convey to the salespeople is, look, you've got to invest in yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You're number one. If you do this, you'll get the results. The other thing we talked about is, I have a video on how to save money, and, you just stuck with it, though.
Yeah. One of the things that I'd like to really impress on the people that are listening is the power of saving and the power of compounding. People think, I need to put, $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 or $3,000 a month aside if I'm going to have a bunch of money, and that's just not the case, Fran. The habit of saving creates a habit of more saving. And once you start with something small, like so many people do, if it's $5 a week or $20 a month or $100 a month, whatever it is that you can stick with, if you'll pay yourself first, and that was one of the things I got from, I think, your third training, was to pay yourself first. And I had never done that. I was in my late 30s at that point, Fran, and I had never done that. I'd never paid myself first. It was always everything else, and whatever was left, if there was any left, was for me. And so when I started that, that was in probably 1995, 96, and I had a long-range goal, what I wanted to do, and my wife has retired a year and a half ago now. I can do this for as long as I want to do this and continue to put money in savings so that we can live the life that we want. And we're traveling now and doing the things that we both want to do, because saving consistently, Fran, is just the key.
Well, that's what I said a long time ago. I said, when we met you, I said, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And there again, it's just so special to me to know and work with someone who takes it to heart. I keep telling people all the time when they call me, I said, look, start with $5, $10. I mean, when I started, I didn't have a car. The owner bought me clothes. So I don't think too many people can get worse than I was when I started. The difference is when I wrote down real estate, racehorses, fly around the world, hunting and fishing, the difference between myself and the other people is I really wanted it. So when you start to do things like that and pay yourself first, eventually all those little things you get that you wrote down get out of the way, and the next thing you know, you start getting bigger things. And it's not being greedy, it's just being aggressive, because when you pay yourself first, you automatically have a better attitude. And by getting the prospecting tools, you're just compounding more chances to sell more cars. You're generating more income. So I have one question here. It says, Steve, what advice can you give to anyone to make or save money?
Okay, I'm gonna tackle the make first, and I don't know how long that person's been in the car business, but if they will do whatever it is that they're doing with the outlook that it is a long-term career commitment. And if you look at every person you deal with as a 20-year relationship, what you're building is no different than what an accountant builds or an attorney builds or a doctor builds, and that's lifelong relationships with people that trust you and want to spend their money with you. And if you look at that, every person you talk to, not as a sale, not as a commission, but as a relationship, look at that person, their extended family, their coworkers, their neighbors, and the people they go to church with. Those are the people that are going to make you the money you want to make. And then as you do that, I think I alluded to it earlier, if it's 1% of your monthly check, or $10 out of every spiff, or $50 out of every half-month draw, whatever it is, set it in concrete. I'm putting this much aside in a separate account. This is my, whatever you want to call it, vacation fund, retirement fund, new home fund, whatever you want to call it. But set it aside first.
That's awesome. Brian, I think we have a couple questions from other people.
Yes. Actually, and everybody who's on, this is Brian Ankney again. Everybody who's on the webinar with us right now, if you'd like, you can enter questions in the chat box. I've got a few of them that I got from people that emailed me. I got one from Ann in Ann Arbor. Steve, Fran has how to save money videos and prospecting videos. Which one would you buy first?
I think I would buy the How to Save Money video first, and the reason is that's one of the things that people see the least, Brian. People see how to make money, how to goal set, how to increase gross. They see those things on a regular basis, but saving money is a different breed. And I'm so thankful that Fran, the third or fourth meeting, and I can't remember which one it was, but the training session I was in with him, for some reason that training, it was all on saving, and it just stuck with me. And if someone will take that and apply it right now, it doesn't matter if they're 25 or 35 or 45, if they'll apply it right now, so many of the things that they want out of their life will fall into place because of that.
Great. Actually, this question is from Giles that's on the webinar with us live right now. Steve, how long have you been selling at the same dealership?
I've been at this dealership 12 years currently. I was here from 1991 to 1995. I was their top salesman during that time, and I'm going to go ahead and say this out loud to everybody listening. I was too big for my britches. I knew that what I did could do no wrong, and unfortunately, I went to another dealership. And I spent 8 years away from here, made good money, and had an excellent opportunity there. And through the grace of God and a wonderful opportunity, I'm back with Mr. Patterson and his organization here. I could not be happier or more thankful that I'm here at this time in my career.
Great. Okay, this question was an email question. This is James from Tulsa. Steve, what are the two most important things that Fran taught you?
I think one of the things that I started from the very beginning was to invest in myself. I took what he said about putting money aside and not trying to beat the dealership up over matching advertising or putting an ad in the paper or buying me whatever I want to give away. He said, Steve, invest in yourself. Take $20 or $50 and start small. Get some keychains, get some mirrors, pocket mirrors. It just didn't matter. But what I've done since then, I now have a $500 a month ad budget, and I use it for different things. And as my business continues to stay, around 25 cars average, I'll continue to spend $500 a month. I've done some different things over the last 90 days. And I sold 27 last month. I'm on track to do 30 this month. I mean, who knows what might happen for 2015? I may need to up that budget from 500 to 750. The second thing I want to get across to everyone is one of the things that he talked about. Actually, after I came back here in 2003. And one of the things that I was well into my career and doing really well and continue to do well, and it's because I'm in a small market. And he said, Steve, I know that you're spending a lot of time up here. And he said, do you ever get burned out? And I said, oh, Fran, I get that way about every 3 to 4 months. I'll have a couple of days, and it's just like, gee, many crickets. Is this really what I want to do? And he said, you just need to take some time off. And when I decided to make my own schedule and walk away from the showroom floor in 2009, it was the best thing I ever did. I don't watch floor traffic. I don't catch sales calls. I don't have to move the lot. What I do is my business for the dealership. The dealership provides me a place to make them money and to make myself money. And by doing that, stepping off the floor, doing my prospecting, my life is so good right now, Brian. I'm just so thankful.
Great. Actually, this question is from Bill. He's live on the webinar right now. When did you start working
Bill?
with Fran?
91, 92, I think was my first exposure to Fran.
Yep, that's 1991. Yep, I was there. That's when Harry asked me to be the GM for a couple months until we found somebody. Yep, 1991.
Okay. And then
he's been a good friend ever since.
Absolutely.
Great. I have another one from Henry who's live on the call right now.
Hi, Henry.
It says, what is your favorite prospecting tool?
My favorite prospecting tool, I guess, is we have our local newspapers, a really good lifestyle section, and they have feature articles in there 2 or 3 times a week with nice, color pictures and an article about a local business or a local entrepreneur or, a local teacher that's gotten some kind of accolade. And I cut those out. I've got an agreement with the local Hobby Lobby. I usually take 4 or 5 at a time, once a month, down to the Hobby Lobby, and I'll pick out the color of mat that I want to go along with the picture, and I'll pick out the 4 or 5 frames that I like, and they will mount all of those. It costs me $38, and then I'll take those out individually. I watch for their customers or friends of mine or casual acquaintances in some cases, but I know them, and I'll just call them up and I'll say, hey, John, you going to be in the office this afternoon? He was just say, yeah, I'll be there. I said, I got something for you. Could I, take 4 or 5 of your minutes? He said, yeah, sure. So I'll take it out, and it's a nice frame of the article, and the looks on these people's face and the people in their office is priceless, Brian. I've sold cars on the spot to people who work for my friends that I take these things out to. They can't believe that a car salesman would do that for a client. And, my husband and I have been looking for a GMC Terrain, and we just can't find the right one. Do you guys have any? And it's just right from there. I'll make an appointment, and they come in, and it's great.
Great. Well, hey, everybody, we're out of time. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to join us today. And as I told you before, please invite your friends in the dealership and other dealerships to join our group. We want to help as many people as we can to further their careers and sell 30 cars a month. Fran and I would like to extend a special offer to everybody that attended the webinar today. It's 20% off on how to save money. And what I'm going to, and it's actually, you can use it for anything on the site today. It's the promotional code is FRAN20. It's lowercase FRAN 20, and that coupon code will get you 20% off on the website. I will also send an email to everybody who registered for this webinar with that information. And in addition to that, Fran, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Sure. Just remember, we're going to, again, I'm honored to have people like Steve talk. And we're going to have these at least once a month. So there's not many times you get a chance to talk to the top producers in the world or get the chance to ask some questions. So I appreciate you spreading the word to your friends. And by all means, join our group, 30 Sales a Month, on Facebook. And once again, we thank you so much, and best of luck to everybody.